Hello everyone, it's been 10 days since our last watermelon update and it looks like we have our first watermelon of the year to harvest. So we'll be harvesting our watermelon today and then we'll do an update and see how the other watermelon plants are doing. So it looks like our watermelon that grew underneath our bear's lime tree is ready to go. This one quietly snuck under here and it was pollinated by insects and probably honeybees and such. So we have a watermelon that is looking like it's ready to go. One of the indicators is to look at the tendril, the tendril that's closest to the fruit, and then when it's all dried and brown, that means the fruit is ripe. This was dried and brown, or I first noticed that it was dried and brown 3 days ago, and I like to wait an additional day or two to ensure that it's nice and ripe. So I found that in the past, once it turns brown right away, it's not a hard indicator. So I like to wait a couple of days. Check out our watermelon. Okay, we have our watermelon set next to the other watermelon that we have. These are from two different plants, and this one has a nice dark pigmentation. This one has a little bit lighter pigmentation. This is more exposed to sun. So, and this is not as symmetric as the other one. Once again, this was pollinated by nature and maybe didn't get pollinated all the way through. That's why the shape is not as symmetric, is my guess. But hopefully it'll be good. The underside is a little bit more yellowish in color now, so that's always a good indicator. And I'm never quite sure about the thump test. Never really got that calibrated, and so I don't usually use the thump test. I usually use the press test and looking at the underside of the watermelon. So if it's nice and yellow on the underside, that means it's been sitting on the ground for a long time. And then the press test, if it gives a little bit, that means ripe. If it gives too much, and that means it's overly ripe. This feels pretty good. So let's cut it open and see how it looks like on the inside. Our watermelon weighs just over 6 pounds, and let's go ahead and cut into it and see what it looks like. This is a really good watermelon. It's nice and crispy and sweet. And it's, oh yeah, it's ripe. So here's our Klondike Striped Blue Ribbon watermelon. Okay, let's cut a slice. It's got a pretty thick rind. I suppose the watermelon could have been bigger, and probably the rind will proportion out. It's a really fresh watermelon. I have to make sure to slice it. If I wedge it, it will crack and split. So it's a good indicator of a really good fresh watermelon. All right, we're gonna go do watermelon update, and then afterwards we'll do a tasting of this watermelon and sign off. Our Moon and Stars watermelon is still doing really well. It's got lots of big leaves, and I think we're gonna get a good size watermelon and our first ever Moon and Stars watermelon. This is after a couple of haphazard attempts. This is a Haogen cantaloupe, and that's gonna be our first cantaloupe ever. Cantaloupe also doesn't like haphazard attempts, so giving it a little bit more attention this year. This is our other Klondike Striped Blue Ribbon watermelon. It looks like it's not going to get any bigger, so we're waiting on it to ripen. The tendril is not brown yet, so probably another 10 days is my guess. And to protect it from the sun, I've weaved the leaves over it so that it can get as much shade as possible, but should be a variety that can handle the sun. Our other watermelon is this sugar baby that's growing on the trellis. And in order to support the watermelon as it grows, this contraption was made. This is from an old coat hanger that's been bent, and to give it a nice soft bed to rest on, there were some old or unused miniature paint rollers that was found and went into this. So we have this to support the watermelon. The other watermelon that we pollinated together in the other video doesn't look to be doing too well. I think the plant might be culling this one because it can't support 2 watermelons. The rind is looking a little bit wrinkly and it seems to have stopped growing. So this is my guess is that we're not going to get a watermelon out of here. This is our Yellow Mountain Sweet watermelon plants, and they're continuing to grow. They're starting to put out some flowers. This is our Hopi yellow watermelon, and it looks like it's starting to grow as well in terms of making foliage. Our sugar baby back there is making an attempt as well. And then this is our other Moon and Stars watermelon. So we'll go down that way and look at the other watermelon plants that are growing. So we were just over there, and then now over here we have our other Hopi yellow watermelon, and then our other sugar baby in a container, and it's coming down onto the lawn. And then our other watermelons are over here. This is another Sweet Yellow Mountain watermelon. This is the Orange Glow, and then this is our Ziwang Sweet watermelon. Our first watermelon of the year is our Klondike Striped Blue Ribbon watermelon. It's also known as the Klondike Blue Ribbon Striped watermelon. It's one that was bred in the early 1900s in California, and the unique characteristics about it is that it can withstand more direct light, the watermelon fruit that is. It's also, as far as for growing watermelon, our largest watermelon of date. It's past our goal of growing one that's bigger than a watermelon. I mean, bigger than a football. And we have another one that's slightly bigger, and we have potential for bigger watermelons with other plants. So before I sign off, we'll do a tasting, and I'll give you some of its characteristics. That's a really good watermelon. This is a very, very sweet watermelon. If you can grow this, I recommend that you grow it. It's very, very sweet. It's one of the sweetest watermelon I've had all year, including the stores, obviously. It's got a lot of seeds, texture. It's got great watermelon texture. It's crispy, firm, and juicy. It's really good. Yeah, that's a really good one. So while we wait for the other watermelons to ripen and grow, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.